Welcome to the Intuitive Rising podcast. I'm your host, Amy Brooks. This is a podcast that invites you to remember who you are, return to yourself, and rise into your highest and best soul self. Every week, I will be sharing inspiring conversations about topics that hold keys to your awakening. My mission as an international evidential psychic medium, Reiki practitioner, and intuitive mentor is to help you rise into who you were born to be. Enjoy the show. Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Intuitive Rising podcast. I'm your host, Amy Brooks, and it is so nice to see you today. We're here for a little short but sweet, better late than never energy forecast for the month of May. May 2025 is where we are at, and I have some messages and guidance for you. So I've already gone ahead and pulled the cards that we use. We always pull from a tarot card, an oracle card, and a soul's journey lesson. We've got those messages. I've got some things written down on my little yellow notepad here. And so I will reveal those to you, weave the messages all together to provide some insight about what it is that we are kind of moving through and encouraged to embrace and possibly release this month. And then I will take a moment to channel in the moment the color support, the number support, and the animal support for you. All right, so let's get right into it. I hope everybody's well. I'm doing okay. I'm still dealing with the eye situation, as you can see if you're watching this transcript. If you're watching this podcast, you'll be able to see I've been moving through it is what I'll say. I feel today as if I'm just kind of emerging from a heavy sort of rain cloud that I've been under for about 2 weeks. I like to be transparent on this podcast and with my community. It's okay to go through it. We are human. But I've been feeling on my feels is basically what I'll say, but I'm starting to feel a little bit more optimistic. Eyesight, in case you wanted an update, is not really any better just yet, but this is a journey. It is not a sprint. I have been told it can take 3 to 6 months. It can take a year. We don't know. Everybody's different. Everybody's eye is different, and, their healing journey is different. But I am hoping and speaking it into existence that, my sight will be restored, and this will be a lesson in resiliency, in gratitude, just in the sacredness of sight and life and health and all the things. And those are certainly things that I've been thinking a lot about lately. So let's get right into it now that I've said that and updated you on my eye. We've got a tarot card coming through, and that tarot card this month is the Page of Swords. Okay, so swords, mindset, kind of the mental side of things, how we're thinking about things. Certainly this is quite resonant for me so far in May around just a mental kind of focus, right? So some keywords I've got written down that come with this lovely Page of Swords. Cleverness, okay? Kind of like a quick-witted energy that comes through with Mrs. Page of Swords. A curiosity, right? In this moment, I'm hearing like spice. Spice is the variety of life, is what I'm hearing. So maybe we're wanting to dabble in some new subject matter. Maybe we're wanting to take a deep dive into something that we have previously been curious. So there could be a time for new courses right now. Even if we're not, I hear like in the moment, even if we're not like currently diving into subject matter, it is a really ripe time for initiating, beginning that, right? So maybe it's about applying for things that start in a month or 2 months or in the fall, but we're initiating those first steps now. That comes in really good. So I just want to say, if there are things that you are wanting to learn, And there's opportunities for you to either do them currently or to sign up or take some sort of initiative towards learning that in the near future. I would say this is your green light to do so. Okay. There's a focus this month on communication. This is a mentally kind of stimulating month. Okay. So I do feel what I'm hearing, I see the scales of balance. So what I'm hearing about this is when there's a mentally heavy focused kind of energy in the month, in the air, so to speak, I often pick up on this, like, okay, so if we know this and we know our mind is kind of busy chattering, wanting to absorb, wanting to kind of experience everything, we need to counteract the overwhelm and the overthinking that tends to come with a mentally focused month, right? Because sometimes we lean a little bit too far and then our brain just kind of spins out of control. So if we're feeling those kind of feelings already, I definitely am. This comes in to counteract with, like, do something with that energy, right? It's kind of like we're feeling all that energy, do something with it. Okay. And it could be something completely unrelated or that you feel is unrelated to the thing, right? Maybe you're feeling super anxious about something, like me with my eyes and my sight and my healing journey. It's almost like distract yourself, put that mental focus that you are giving so much attention and energy to the anxious thinking, and like put it into something else, put it into learning something. And certainly there's something that I'm thinking about signing up for. It's not necessarily, well, I guess it's kind of a learning thing, but it's a community-based thing, and it's a health-based thing, and I've been thinking about it. I feel like this is my go-ahead in the moment to just do it, and maybe that will help distract me from the moment, but also there is like a ripple effect that's coming through in the moment, and I feel like this is a message for others as well, not just myself. So kind of like we're working through something that we're healing on potentially, or we're moving through, and then we do something that we think may be unrelated, but actually is related in the long run, that will help us heal and feel better. So that's coming through as well. There's this message around sharing your light, right? So it's kind of like a pay it forward message to share what it is that you're thinking, to share your inspirations and ideas, right? It feels like this is a social kind of month, or we are encouraged to move through like the resistance of being out there. So it's a month where maybe you are feeling especially like you want to isolate in some way, but you recognize that that isolation is actually not the most healthy coping mechanism in the moment. So we kind of put ourselves out there in baby steps. That's coming through as well, but please don't hesitate to like share your light in whatever way possible. Sharing an idea, sharing your creative endeavors, sharing your art, sharing your words, sharing your song, I'm hearing, sharing your music, share your ideas, just share, right? If you feel like saying to somebody, oh my God, I love your hair, or I love the shirt you have on, etc. Just do it. Share your light this month. And thirst for knowledge. So that's what we've got coming through from the tarot. So there's a lot of goodness in that, right? There's a feeling of new beginnings. There's a feeling of we've got a lot going on mentally. And that comes in with the guidance that, hey, that can be overwhelming at times. Combat. There we go. Combat the feelings of like mental overwhelm by putting that energy into something, right? So sometimes I will have a really busy brain, right? And there'll be all kinds of stuff going on, and it helps for me even to like speak it into existence. So to share it out loud, whether it's with you guys, whether it's with my family, my husband, just to share it out loud, to channel it in a way. I'm a think out loud kind of gal, and that feels like that can be good advice for this month as well. Okay, now let's move on to the oracle card message, and I did pull from the Animal Elders Oracle, and we've got Elder Loon, which I really love. Dive deep. Okay, so I did mention earlier that there was this feeling of like feeling your feelings. Okay, and this card is about feeling your feelings. This is a card, let's see, I wrote down, dive deep in your subconscious. Okay. Feel your feels. This is a month for introspection. All of those kind of the introspection, the diving deep in the subconscious feels as if it's coming to the surface mentally through ideas, thoughts, dreams, etc. Okay. And then how we weave that in with the tarot message is that all of that it's kind of rising to the surface, maybe feeling a little bit overwhelming. Okay. So then we do something with the energy, right? We go for a walk, we go for a swim, I don't know, throw a frisbee. I'm seeing that very clearly in my mind. So maybe somebody recently has gone out and thrown a frisbee with a golden retriever, because that's specifically what I'm seeing. Rising up, and then I wrote down, let it rise, feel it, let it move, let it move, let it flow. Okay. There's a lot of stuff right now collectively, but also individually that wants to be released. Okay, there's like, if we resist it, if we ignore it, we stuff it down. And it's inevitable that it's going to come out. So it feels like the time is now. Let it out. Feel your feels. All right. Great month for journaling. Great month for like any sort of, spiritual tools, practices that you enjoy in your life. Meditation, sound healing, whatever it is that you want to do. It feels like a good month to do that. Ancestral healing comes up as well for us this month. So there is some stuff that's, some of the subconscious things that are making themselves known to us right now are ancestrally based is what I mean to say. So there's things that come forward that we've inherited, whether cellularly, like in our DNA, whether at the soul, whether physically in our actual body, things that are genetic and we're predisposed to, all of those things feel as if they're on a focus this month. Okay. So it's a good month for some ancestral healing. I also hear dig deep and learn. So I feel like there's some questions for some people around their ancestry or their family, or I also hear misconnections, or almost like a feeling of, say for instance, I know this is a common situation for so many people, where there's a parent that's been absent, or we are estranged from, or we just haven't seen in 20 years. There's this feeling around that as well of it's not necessarily to say reconnect, although some of us may want to. Maybe our own kind of spirits are asking us to reconnect, and maybe that feels right, and maybe that's the time for that. But that's a personal journey for sure. What comes in around this is it's almost like dealing with those feelings. So for instance, I've been very transparent around some things that I've had with my own father in time. My father's in spirit now, as most of you know, and kind of uncovered this abandonment wound that lives within me and is connected to my father, but also I can see very, very clearly within the lineage, right? The ancestral lineage on both sides of my family, and how that shows up and plays out in my own life, right? And so that's something that I notice, and it's always kind of like the root. It's like at the root of all kinds of my issues, right? And so this is a month where we're just bringing those things to the surface. So maybe we're digging deep. We're asking questions to people that we know in our family. Can you tell me more about this? Maybe it's about journaling, how we're feeling, right? Maybe it's about connecting to spirit ourselves and asking for some insight or some answers. But there's definitely an ancestral healing focus here. Things wanting to be released through the bloodline, right? Through it's like I feel very much as if what I'm hearing is you've come here. If you're resonating with this message in particular, I'm hearing you've come here to break these bonds. You're here to break these chains. That's that which binds you. You are here to rewrite the story around this particular wound, right? So the wound for you, what is that thing? This might be a good month to think about that, right? And then going back with the Page of Swords, we are doing something with that information. We're not just letting it rumble around in our head and causing us to feel overwhelmed, because we're like, okay, now I have this information, but what do I do with it? Channel it out, Remember, it doesn't have to be obviously so connected or related to the thing that you're working on. Okay, lastly, our soul's journey lesson card. What is the purpose of all this? Like, what is our soul trying to learn through this? Well, one of those things is patience. Patience, trusting in divine timing, trusting in like a divine plan. I'm often asked the question around future-based information, and when future-based information comes in intuitive guidance readings, are things kind of set in stone? How much choice do we really have um, in the future, in what happens, in the grand scheme of things, in the game of life? And the answer is a whole heck of a lot. I really do believe that there may be some, I shouldn't say maybe, I definitely feel like it's the truth. There are themes that we as a soul have chosen to encounter, and and this lifetime, for me, for example, I feel like there's a connection and a theme around health, right? There's a connection and a theme around abandonment, around like self-worth, etc. And so those are these themes, right? But they're kind of umbrellas, and how those umbrellas, those wounds, those themes show up for us in our life, I feel is much more based on free will and the choices that we make. So we know we make a choice and it's very unaligned to us, then we live with the consequences of that. But when I say that we live with the consequences with that, I mean that the ramification of that choice is very obvious. It doesn't mean that we have to stay with that choice. We can make another decision, go, you know what, I was wrong. I'm going to make another choice this time. I feel very much as if free will is huge. So, the decisions that you're making day to day are creating your reality and your future. And so just know that and be empowered by that, and know so maybe in my lifetime, there's a focus on healing and health. And maybe the situation with my eye, maybe it's predestined. I don't know. Does that make it easier for me to deal with? Not really. However, the choices that I make in this moment around how I deal with it, what I take from it, and what I learn from it are mine alone. Right? And that is what creates our future and our destiny. Okay, so that's what I'll say about that. Now I'm going to move into the number, the animal, and the color. So let's start with number. And I very clearly right away see 3-3. So I'm seeing 2 3s, variations of 3s, especially 33 comes through. As I am seeing this number, I keep hearing cooperation, 2 heads are better than 1. So it feels like a good month to partner up. If there's something that you're wanting to learn or to do, it might be a great month to do it with someone else. This really aligns and goes back to that message around like communication and sharing your light and the ripple effect with that. So I feel like this kind of comes in to support that Page of Swords energy of this like thirst for knowledge and wanting to do new things and try new things, but maybe we do it with another person, right? Maybe we sign up for something team oriented. But there's a focus on cooperation. I also keep seeing somebody climbing up on a ladder. Okay, so I feel as if somebody that will be listening to this, there's some connection to like painting and like somebody climbing up to a ladder so that they can kind of paint up near the ceiling and trim, where the wall connects. So maybe somebody's doing that right now. Let me see what else comes in. It's funny that that's coming in. It's like making some changes around the home comes in a big way. So I don't know how cooperation, I guess like working with somebody, working with your spouse, working with a friend, asking somebody to come over and have a paint party. I don't know, but I feel a lot of energy around like spring cleaning and around some home renovations. And that comes in a really big way with the number 33 as well. Let's see if there's anything else. I don't know who needs to hear this, but I keep hearing like preparation is key. Preparation is key. These are random messages to come in with the number, I know. And so they may be connected to the number, but they may not be. But they definitely feel like messages for somebody listening today. Something coming in about preparation is key, and like dotting your T's or your I's and crossing your T's. But also there's this message around somebody like running out of gas. And I keep hearing, fill up the tank, fill up the tank, filling up the tank. And I keep hearing like there's a grandfather like figure, and there's a connection to the letter H. Okay, so I'll give you that. Funny enough, I feel like there's some sort of spirit connection wanting to come through with this number. Maybe somebody's turning 33. Maybe somebody has a connection to like, I don't know, the 3rd of the month, 13th of the month, 23rd of the month, or maybe March 3rd. I don't know, but 3-3 comes in super, super strong with that as well. Main messages around cooperation, teamwork, 2 heads are better than 1. Then also we had a little sneaky spirit communication come in. Okay, let's see about color. Oh, okay, I'm seeing very clearly is the color silver. Let me see. Interesting, because I heard not all that glitters is gold. I saw silver. Silver reminds me of like alchemy, right? It reminds me of making something new out of something existing, right? So when we're talking about diving deep in the subconscious, bringing forth any wounds, trying new things, new beginnings, and taking a chance on ourselves when it comes to initiating that start, throwing ourselves into something that we're curious about. If we think about alchemy, what that is trying to tell us is that we can create something new out of what currently is, right? So kind of like a light at the end of the tunnel message. I do feel encouragement for us to work with that element. It's not only a color, it's an element, right? The element of silver. So it could be a great month to like wear your silver jewelry if you have some. But remember, the main support around this is the alchemy and transforming something that you currently have. And to be honest, this feels like mental chatter, emotional healing, and really wanting to heal that and turning it into something beautiful. Now, the all that glitters, that gold message, or all that glitters is not gold message. I feel like that what that's trying to talk about is, or get us to, is distraction, right? So, like to stay focused, which is an interesting energy, because the Page of Swords, I feel like the page in general, I feel sometimes can be a little bit spontaneous, or like, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try this. It's very like ADHD squirrel energy, at least for me. That's how it comes through. So this like staying focused, I feel like that what I'm hearing is that has to do with distractions of like, okay, so I'm dealing with what I'm dealing with, and I'm going to distract myself with something else that actually takes me away from the thing I'm dealing with. And it feels like this is a very like deep discernment month is what I'm hearing as well. So it's like that message around like isolating. Earlier I brought that through, but like maybe some of us are feeling isolating, but we actually realize it's okay to do that sometimes, but maybe it's run its course, or maybe we're now using that feeling or that tendency of ours to isolate in an unhealthy way, like it's an unhealthy coping mechanism. So I do hear discernment come in with the element and color of silver as well, to like, it's kind of like this message of nobody's going to come and save you. Nobody's going to come and like tell you exactly what to do. You are driving this ship. So, I feel like Spirit's calling me out here too. So it's like you're in charge of where you go and how you do it. So there you go. Okay, what do we got for animal? Okay. I've never channeled anything about this animal before. We've got gorilla come through. I'm going to intuitively see what wants to come in with this message here. Okay, again, there's like teamwork. Teamwork comes through really strongly. Like a tribe, like find your tribe, being with your tribe. I feel like what I'm hearing is like you'll find your tribe by kind of putting yourself out there, by sharing your light, by initiating those steps towards signing up for or doing something that you're curious about or you want to learn about. Finding your tribe comes through in a really big way. And gorilla comes through with this energy of like working together, working together. And you don't have to do it alone. That comes through very clearly as well. But it's also this feeling, I'm seeing like gorilla kind of banging on its chest. And with this energy comes through this message like it's okay to take up space. It's okay to demand what it is that you deserve. But with following up to that message around like nobody's coming to save you, nobody's going to do it for you. I feel like this energy from the gorilla comes through like kind of banging on its chest to go, I am here. I'm going to be heard. I'm going to be seen. Here I am. Here I am. What is it that you need? Is what I'm hearing from the gorilla. What do you need? What do you really need right now? And then there's this message of cooperation, this message of teamwork, working together. So it's like taking up space, putting yourself out there. Don't isolate this month too much, or try not to, especially if you've discerned that it feels a bit like an unhealthy coping mechanism. It's kind of like feel the fear and put yourself out there a little bit. You will feel better because of it. And then don't be afraid to share your light, to share your story, to share your voice, to take up space. Lovely message for us this month. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you back here in another week. Take good care. If you have enjoyed this episode, please consider hopping on over to wherever you listen to your podcast and giving it a 5-star review. Thank you so much in advance. If you'd like to keep in touch, please head over to my website, theintuitiverising.com, to keep up with all the things that I have been doing. I also have a private Facebook community for people just like you. It's called the Intuitive Rising Community. All you gotta do is request to join, and I will let you in. Keep rising.